All right, let's dive into Robert Kiyosaki's classic Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a book that has completely flipped the script on how millions of people think about money, and we're going to break down exactly why.
You know, the whole book is built around this one huge conflict. You've got poor dad on one side, super educated, stable government job, and his advice is what we all hear, right? Study hard so you can find a good company to work for. But then you've got rich dad, a high school dropout, who says, no, study hard so you can find a good company to buy. That single difference, that's everything. It completely sets the stage for a new way of looking at wealth.
So before we can even talk about getting ahead, we first have to understand the trap that Rich Dad says most of us are stuck in. He gave it a brilliant name, the rat race.
So what is the rat race really? Well, the slide says it's about working for everyone but yourself. But what's truly trapping people isn't just the 9-to-5 job. It's the emotions driving it. It's the fear of being broke that makes you cling to that job. And it's the desire for nicer things that makes you spend every single penny you earn. You're basically running on a hamster wheel, working harder and harder just to stay in the exact same place.
And this is what that cycle usually looks like, right? It's a pattern that gets passed down through generations. We're told, get a good education, land a safe job. Then, as our income goes up, so do our wants. We buy a bigger house, a nicer car, and all of a sudden, our expenses magically expand to eat up our entire salary. Now we're trapped, working harder not for our own freedom, but to pay the boss, to pay the government in taxes, and to pay the bank for our mortgage.
So how in the world do you get out of this thing? Well, Rich Dad's first and most important lesson is, honestly, it's deceptively simple. The whole escape plan starts with understanding two very simple but incredibly powerful words. First up, asset. Now forget all the complicated accounting jargon. Rich Dad's definition is just this. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's it. Think of it as your own little money-making machine that works for you even when you're sleeping.
And then you've got the flip side, a liability. And again, the definition is just beautifully simple. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket, month after month after month. It's a cash strain, plain and simple.
And here it is, the core idea of the entire book. Your whole financial future is pretty much decided by which of these two things you choose to buy with your money. So, what's the big secret? Why do the rich seem to get richer?
It's really this simple. They focus all their energy on one thing, building their asset column. They use their income to buy things that will generate even more income. And once that asset column gets big enough, the money it spits out pays for all their expenses. And the rest? It gets reinvested to buy, you guessed it, more assets. It becomes this amazing self-perpetuating cycle of wealth. This table just lays it all out, doesn't it? The poor and the middle class, we often buy liabilities that we think are assets. That big beautiful house, for most people, it's a giant liability, constantly sucking money out for the mortgage, taxes, and repairs. The rich, on the other hand, do it completely backwards. They build their asset column first. They let their businesses, their real estate, their stocks generate cash for them. Then, and only then, do they use that cash to buy the luxuries. That fancy car isn't the first thing they buy with a paycheck, it's the reward for building a solid foundation of assets.
Okay, let's keep building on this with the next huge idea, understanding the massive difference between your job and your business. This quote from the founder of McDonald's is the perfect example. Ray Kroc's profession, his job, was selling hamburger franchises. He was definitely in the burger business, but his personal business, the thing that built his unbelievable wealth, was buying up the valuable real estate underneath every single one of those golden arches. He was minding his own business.
So, what does minding your own business actually look like for you and me? It means you're building your asset column. You keep your day job, that pays the bills, but you use your spare time and extra income to buy real assets like these, things that make money whether you show up to work or not. See, the goal is to own things, not just to have a job.
But just buying assets isn't a simple checklist. It takes a complete shift in how you think. You have to go from the mindset of an employee to the mindset of an investor.
This quote right here, it captures the soul of that shift. Most of us are taught to work for money. You trade your time for dollars. The investor mindset flips that whole equation on its head. It's about learning how to make your money work hard for you. It's about creating systems and buying assets that generate cash 24/7 long after you've clocked out for the day.
And a huge part of this mindset is getting a handle on your emotions. Remember the rat race we talked about? It's literally powered by fear and desire. The fear of not paying your bills keeps you chained to a job you might hate, and the desire for shiny new things makes you spend impulsively. The rich learn to see those emotions for what they are and make decisions based on logic and long-term goals, not on some short-term feeling.
This also totally changes how you look at failure. Most people are terrified of losing money, so they play it super safe and never really invest. But investors, they get it. They understand that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every loss is just a lesson in disguise. They're not afraid to fail because they know that every mistake makes them smarter and actually gets them one step closer to a huge win.
So, what do we do with all this? After understanding the trap and the mindset needed to escape it, it all comes down to a choice you have to make. So where do you even begin? Well, according to Rich Dad, the first and most powerful investment you will ever make isn't in stocks, it's not in real estate, it's right here, in your own mind. Financial education is the absolute foundation. You have to train your brain to see the opportunities that everyone else misses, to understand how money really works, and to see the financial world in a completely different way.
And in the end, the book leaves us with this powerful, really thought-provoking question. It challenges every single one of us to decide what financial story we want to live out. Two dads, two completely different philosophies, and two very different paths. The question is, which one will you follow?